What if your new apartment's floor plan shifted with every blink, revealing doors that shouldn't exist and a presence that hums from beyond the walls? Nueng thought she'd found a steal in Bangkok, a studio with impossible square footage and strange, silent corners. But when she wakes to find her front door where her window used to be, she realizes she isn't living in a home. She's trespassing on a space that was never meant to be occupied. This is the story of the spirit house that was never built, the land blessing that was skipped, and the ancient, patient presence now waiting to reclaim the space Nueng calls home. 14 boxes against the wall, 3 doors around them. Nueng counts twice, because the first count was wrong on purpose, a small mercy she gives herself before she has to believe it. Her sister helped her carry those boxes up on Tuesday. 4 flights, no elevator, both of them sweating through their shirts, laughing about the mattress that wouldn't fit around the stairwell corner. There was 1 door then, front door, deadbolt, brass numbers reading 4C. Nueng remembers her sister's hand on it, pushing it shut behind them, the particular click it made. Now there are 3. The new one sits second from the kitchen, where a stretch of blank wall used to be, the wall she'd planned to hang a mirror on. She doesn't remember it opening. She doesn't remember it becoming. It is simply there now, the way a bruise is simply there in the morning. No memory of the impact. She crosses the room slowly, the way you'd cross toward a dog that hasn't decided yet whether to bite. The wood grain runs vertical, same varnish as the front door, same brass handle, a duplicate built by someone with excellent taste and no explanation. She presses her palm flat against it. It's warm, not sun warm, not radiator warm. Warmer than the concrete outside, still holding the day's heat at 11 at night. Warmer than her own hand. Warmer than skin should get without a pulse under it. She pulls her hand back and holds it against her chest instead, like she's checking her own temperature against the memory of the doors. Downstairs, 4 floors down, past the mailboxes with their little brass flags, the security guard's chair sits empty. His tablet is still awake, screen glowing blue-white in the dark lobby, logged into the building's camera feed. 12 small rectangles, 12 hallways. One of them, 3rd floor, east wing, shows a corridor running 20 feet past where the building's outer wall should be. It has always shown this. No one has ever looked closely enough to notice, because security guards in buildings like this one watch the lobby door, not the architecture behind it. Nueng doesn't know this. She's 4 floors up, standing in her socks on a rug she chose because it matched nothing and therefore matched everything, holding her lease against a door frame that shouldn't exist. Unit 4C. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 1 door, the paper says. There's a floor plan stapled to the back. A clean grey rectangle, 1 door marked with a small swinging arc to show which way it opens, in toward the hall. She holds the page up against the new door's frame. Corner to corner, the way you'd hold a photograph up to a face to check if the resemblance is real or something you invented out of loneliness. It does not match, not by a little. There is no room, no hallway, no logic on the page that accounts for a 2nd doorway 6 feet from her stove. The paper describes an apartment that is smaller than the one she is currently standing in, and she cannot tell, looking at the blank space where a wall should be, whether the room grew or the page lied first. She sets the lease down on the counter, face up, like evidence she isn't ready to file. Then she picks up one of the 14 boxes, the one marked kitchen in her sister's handwriting, and carries it to the far side of the room, away from the door, away from the warmth still sitting in her palm like something borrowed and not yet returned. She does not open it. She turns off the kitchen light instead, and in the dark, The new door is the last thing to stop being visible. The phone rings 4 times before Ploy picks up, and when she does, there's a lighter click in the background, then a long exhale. Unit 4C, right? The cute one with the good light. Nueng doesn't answer that. She's standing at her kitchen counter with her thumbnail dug into the edge of yesterday's lease printout, the one that still doesn't match her apartment. There's a door in my kitchen wall that wasn't there when I moved in. Ploy laughs. A real laugh, warm and a little tired. The laugh of someone who has fielded 100 calls like this. Sweetheart, it's an old building. The walls play tricks in the humidity. Wood swells, plaster shifts. Sometimes a seam looks like something it's not. She says it easily, the way you'd explain why a floor creaks. It's not a seam, it's a door. It has a handle. Silence on the line. Just the faint hiss of a cigarette drawn in, held, let go. Nueng looks out her kitchen window while she waits, down at the courtyard 4 floors below. It's swept clean, tiled in pale grey, a single frangipani tree in the corner losing petals onto the stone, and nothing else. No small raised house on a single post, no red-roofed shrine the size of a dollhouse, no tiny painted figures standing guard over a plate of rice. Every building has one. She grew up watching her grandmother top hers off each morning. A shot glass of rice whiskey, a fresh orange Fanta with the cap left on loose, incense sticks pushed into a bowl of ash outside their shof house in Thonburi, offered to the phum, the guardian spirit that owns the land underneath every plot before any human ever put a foundation into it. You build first, you ask second, and something in the walls remembers which order you did it in. Why isn't there a spirit house in the courtyard? Nueng says. Not really a question, more like she's checking a fact against a fact. The exhale on the other end comes out different this time, shorter, cut off halfway. There's supposed to be, Ploy says, but there isn't. A pause long enough that Nueng checks the screen to see if the call dropped. It hasn't. The developer was behind schedule, Ploy says finally, her voice flattened out, all the sweetheart gone from it. The land blessing, the spirit house, that's supposed to happen before you pour the foundation. Monk comes, string gets tied around the property stakes. You dig a hole and bury the first brick with a coin in it. Takes 2-3 weeks to do it right. Longer if the monk they want is busy. She stops. They skipped it. Went straight to pouring concrete. Saved themselves almost 2 months on the permit calendar. Nueng says nothing. Outside, the frangipani drops another petal, and it makes no sound at all landing on the grey tile. It's just paperwork stuff, Ploy adds too quickly now, filling the silence Nueng left open on purpose. Nobody actually. I mean, it's not like. Thanks, Ploy, Nueng says, and hangs up before she has to hear the rest of the sentence, the reassurance neither of them believes. She sets the phone face down on the counter. The apartment is quiet in the specific way apartments get quiet when the refrigerator hasn't kicked on in a while. A silence with a shape to it, pressing in at the edges. She turns, meaning to go check the new door again, run her palm over the wood one more time to see if the warmth is still there. It isn't the door that stops her. It's the bed. Her bed pushed against the far wall the way she'd left it Tuesday night, still made, still hers. The door frame has moved 6 inches closer to it. 2 doors. Nueng counts them from her bed. Lights on. Phone flashlight ready in her fist, like a small blunt weapon. She's been doing this every night for 4 days now. Counting before she closes her eyes. Counting again the second she opens them. A ritual with no priest and no incense. Just a woman lying rigid on top of her covers, refusing to blink for longer than she has to. Tonight the count comes out wrong twice. First it's 2. The front door, the new one by the kitchen. Both present and accounted for. Both exactly where they were an hour ago. She almost laughs at herself. almost lets her shoulders down. Then she blinks, just once, the kind of blink you can't stop your body from doing, and there are three. A third door frame has appeared in the wall beside her closet. Unpainted plywood where drywall used to be. No handle yet, like something still under construction. She sits up so fast her phone clatters to the floor. She doesn't sleep again that night. She sits with her back against the headboard and watches all three doors take turns not moving, which is somehow worse than watching them move. By morning, there's only one. Not the original front door. Not the kitchen one, not the plywood one by the closet. A single door in a wall she doesn't recognize at all, in a position none of the others have held, as if the apartment shuffled its options overnight and is now waiting to see which lie she'll settle on as true. She doesn't go to work. She goes downstairs instead, to the unit directly below hers, where an old man named Nueng Somchai lives alone with a rice cooker and a shelf of paperback detective novels. He was a monk for 40 years before he disrobed to care for his sister, and the building still treats him like one. Neighbors leave food on his doorstep on Buddhist holy days without being asked. He makes her cold Chinese tea, the bitter kind poured over ice, and doesn't ask why her hands are shaking around the glass. They dug this foundation 9 years ago, he says, not as an answer to a question she's asked yet, but because he's been waiting for someone to ask it. I watch from my window. No bones came up. No old shrine, no buried jars, nothing that should have warned them. Warned them of what? That the land already belonged to something. He turns his glass a slow quarter turn on the table, like he's aligning it to a compass point. Only he can see. Before you build, you ask the Chao Thi, the spirit that keeps a place, for permission. A monk comes. He ties Sai Sin, white string, around the corner stakes of the plot, out to a Buddha image, so the blessing has somewhere to travel. 9 candles for the groundbreaking, 1 for each direction and 1 for the center, where the first post goes into the ground. He looks up at her, and his eyes are perfectly calm, which frightens her more than anger would have. None of that happened here. Nueng sets her tea down. So the apartment is haunted. No, he says it gently, the way you'd correct a child who's gotten a word wrong, not a fact. He folds his hands together, thumbs touching, an old habit his fingers haven't forgotten how to do. You are not haunted, child. You are trespassing. The land was never asked. It is still deciding what to do with the people standing on it. She sits with that on the walk back up the stairwell. 4 flights, her hand trailing the rail the way it did the day she moved in with her sister, both of them laughing about a mattress that wouldn't fit around a corner that, she now realizes, might not have been a corner at all. That night, for the first time, the new door doesn't stay silent. It hums, low, steady, almost pleasant, like something behind it is finally satisfied she came home. The egg sits balanced on a mound of raw rice, and Luang Por Somchai turns it a 1/4 inch with 1 finger until it stops wobbling. It has to be still, he says, before we can start. Nueng kneels across from him on her own living room floor, knees aching against the tile, watching an old man arrange a boiled egg, like it's the most important object in the building, which, he's already told her, tonight it might be. He explains it while he works, low and unhurried, the way you'd talk someone down from a ledge without ever mentioning the ledge. The sukwan is normally for the sick, he says, or for people coming home from somewhere far. A soldier back from the border, a fisherman back from a bad season at sea. It calls the kwan home, 32 of them, 1 for each part of a person. An essence for the hands, 1 for the eyes, 1 that lives behind the sternum where fear sits. When someone is frightened badly enough, long enough, the Huan scatter. They wander, and whatever they leave behind doesn't always stay empty. You think mine have scattered, Nueng says. I think something in this apartment has been very patient, he says, waiting for exactly that. He takes a spool of white cotton string, unbleached, the kind sold in every temple supply stall in Chinatown, the kind her grandmother used to keep coiled in a drawer for exactly this, and begins wrapping it around Nueng's right wrist. 3 loops, then a knot he ties with his thumb and forefinger without looking down, muscle memory older than she is. He runs the string from her wrist to the rim of the rice bowl, then up along the floor to the base of the new door frame by the kitchen, looping it twice around the wood like he's tethering a boat. Why the door? She asks. Because that's where it's listening from. He lights a single candle, not 9. There's no time for 9, he says. And this isn't a groundbreaking, just a calling, and begins to chant in Pali, the syllables round and low in his throat. Kwanja, Kwanja, come home, the same 3 words folded over and over like dough. Nueng closes her eyes because he tells her to. She feels the string on her wrist, featherlight, barely there. Halfway through the 3rd repetition, the lights buzz once, a dying insect sound, and go out. She doesn't open her eyes. He told her not to, no matter what. The chant doesn't stop, but his voice changes. Not louder, just tighter, the pace clipped short, like he's reading faster to reach the end of a sentence before something else finishes it first. That's when she feels the string go taut. Not a tug, a pull, steady, deliberate, aimed at her wrist and dragging toward the door, the cotton biting a thin, hot line into her skin. She grips her knee with her free hand to keep from reaching up to touch it. And underneath his chanting, so faint she almost mistakes it for an echo bouncing off the tile, she hears it, the same 3 words, Kwanja, Kwanja, coming from the other side of the door. Not mimicking him exactly, matching him, syllable for syllable, half a beat behind. Like something on the other side has been in this room enough times to learn the words by heart, and is only now, for the first time, saying them back. The string is in 2 pieces on the tile, and both ends look chewed, not cut. Soft white fibers frayed into little tufts, like something worried at them with teeth that weren't in a hurry. Nueng finds it first, before she finds anything else, kneeling in the grey 7 a.m. light with her heart still going too fast from whatever sleep she managed on the couch. She picks up 1/2 of the string and turns it over in her fingers, looking for a clean edge, a scissor cut, anything that would mean a person did this. There isn't one. She stands and counts the doors before she lets herself hope. 1. Front door, brass numbers, deadbolt, exactly where it was, the day her sister helped her carry a mattress up 4 flights and laughed about the corner it wouldn't fit around. No door by the kitchen, no plywood frame by the closet. She holds her lease up against the wall, out of habit more than doubt now, and for the first time since Tuesday, the paper and the room agree with each other. For one long moment, she lets herself believe she dreamed the rest of it. The humming, the second voice under Luangpo Somchai's chant, the wrist that ached for 2 days after. Grief and relief can look identical on a person's face, and hers in the hallway mirror looks like both. Then she sees the rice bowl, empty. Not spilled, not knocked over, emptied. The way a bowl looks after something has taken its time with it. And the egg is gone entirely. Not the shell left behind, not a scatter of white fragments on the floor. All of it, shell, white, yolk, gone, like it was never boiled and set there at all, like she imagined that part too, except the bowl still smells faintly of rice, and the smell of an empty thing is not something a person imagines. She doesn't clean it. She calls Luangpo Somchai instead, and he doesn't sound surprised. He comes up that afternoon with a coil of thin rope and a set of hand tools, and by the end of the week there's a small teak spirit house standing on a single post in the courtyard, 4 floors below her window, facing away from the long shadow the building throws every afternoon at 4 o'clock. He's specific about the direction. Not east, not toward the door, away from the shadow, so the house that lives inside it never has to look at the building that forgot to ask it first. He lights incense in the little bowl at its base, 3 sticks, and the smoke rises straight for a moment before curling, briefly, unmistakably, backward toward the building, before straightening out and climbing clean into the sky. He doesn't say whether that means it worked. Neither does she ask. Nueng signs a new lease the following month, a studio on the other side of the river, older building, smaller kitchen, spirit house already standing in the courtyard with a faded plastic chair set beside it, clearly fed and clearly used. She doesn't tell the new landlord why she moved. She doesn't tell most people at all. But she keeps the old floor plan folded into quarters in her wallet, worn soft at the creases now. The one with a single door drawn in grey ink and a small swinging arc showing which way it opens. Into the hall, toward the world, away from whatever waited on the other side of a wall someone built without asking permission first. When people ask her why she keeps it, she says the same thing every time, and she has come to believe it completely. A home is a promise, and somebody forgot to make one. If this story stayed with you, I think it was meant to. New stories from across Asia, every week, right here. I'm Haunted East. Subscribe if you want to keep listening.